are the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
Good morning, Santa Barbara Teen Sports listeners. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday. This is a whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. And all those people and businesses that support those teen athletes. And we've got some teen queens in the house today. Look at that. Woo! I like it. I like it when the teen queens are represented. Laura Archedia, woo! Santa Barbara City College.
Good morning, Erica.
Yes, and you knocked it out of the park. I love it when one of my teen queens sends me their report cards, and it's A. How many classes did you take?
7.
7 classes! A.
That's such a boring report card.
7A.
There's no diversity there.
I've never not... Well,
Congratulations.
Actually, there was one mistake. At DP High School, there was not an A, and she got it corrected.
Oh.
I said, oh, yeah. You tell the story.
Oh, yeah. It was my Spanish class. And I remember looking at it, and I was like, this is not possible. Come on. Like, I literally helped the teacher correcting stuff.
It was
so I just, go up to her, and I'm like, excuse me.
C stood for correct.
Yeah, I was just like, I think there's a little mistake. And she was like, oh, my God, no, it's okay. I'm going to go. Like, she got it fixed in the day. She was like, oh, it's all right now, and you have the new report, it's fine.
Wow. It was funny because I got the report card, I opened it up, with my fancy little how I open it up with that, what does I call that thing, that little knife thing?
Machete.
The machete, okay, open it up. And when I saw it, I was just shocked, okay? It was a C, you can say. It was a C, right? It was funny because she always brags, when you have somebody who speaks 5 languages, in the house, okay, and Italian you say Italian or German? You say Italian. Italian. Okay, I want to be corrected. Okay, Italian, and this is Spanish. And see, when all the kids look at Laura, and so that's her third. Was that your third language is Spanish?
It's my fourth.
Fourth language. But when all the kids look at Laura to see if the teacher's correct, it's really ironic when I see a C, and she, tells these stories going to DP High School, of these, and I said, C. So I just raked her. Okay, I could not see. I was going to put it on Facebook. I didn't though. Okay, so then
she have the picture if you're holding it up.
Oh yeah, I did. I'm really right. And then she fixed it. So yeah, it was like a highlight of my life. Okay, yeah. And you fixed it. It was okay.
Yeah, but you missed the whole thing.
Yeah. What?
The C was for congratulations. You got an A.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. No, but I'm really happy about the SBCC report because that allows me to get into PTK for next semester because it requires a 3.5 GPA, so stay in PTK. And it's like the Honors Society. I'm the president of the Honors Program, but that is the Honors Society. It's just complicated. It's a long story, but yeah, no, it's going to be fun.
So let's recap a little bit because, you came over here from Italy and then, you fell into, my house, with Dominique and myself, which is a blessing to me. Okay. So, and then you could have really gone and had a lot of opportunities with your GPA, with the 5 languages, but you thought it through, after talking to Dominique and myself, because, why not discover free promise program? You fell into that. So, looking back on it, because now you're into your second year, how was that advice that, Dominique and I gave you? I'm just saying, clearly.
Oh, yeah, no, that was great advice because I know a lot of people say don't go to city college, you don't want to go to a city college, it's not that good. But first of all, we have a lot of professors who teach both at UCSB and CC. My American government professor, shout out to Eskandari, by the way.
Woo! Shout out to, what's his name?
Eskandari.
Eskandari! Why am I the only one clapping?
Yeah.
He's a professor. Okay.
Yeah, he's been elected Teacher of the Year in California, I think twice. And that's CC, so yeah, no. And yeah, I got the promise. Everybody that graduates from Santa Barbara would get the promise. And I was looking at it today because I was registering for my classes. And since I'm out of state, it would have been $6,000. And it was just balance zero. And I was like, oh, this is so good. So no, it definitely CC. And now I'm working with Lori Cortez to get me into a good college for not next year, the year after.
Well, it's really nice. Yeah. You're working with the Santa Barbara Foundation with a nonprofit in order to do community service work, and it's Santa Barbara Foundation that's making the Promise program possible.
Yeah.
So we give a shout out of great appreciation
to all those people that made it possible, because it's a crazy, like, it's an amazing program, and I owe it to them if I'm still here. So
What colleges are you looking at to go to in a few years?
So UCLA, we're working on Georgetown and Columbia. Those are the three main ones that I'm interested in, and that I'm focused, like the goals, like the holy grail of colleges to me. And otherwise, we have like safety net schools like UCSB, and which is still a really good school. UC Berkeley, we'll see. But a lot of work.
Well, I know I'm a proud alum of Westmont College, but if you turned over my degree, it doesn't say Harbor College, Long Beach State. It says Westmont College. And I didn't have the funds to do the Westmont College for the 4 years. But the accumulation of going to all the night classes and having to work during the day, and then moving over to Long Beach State and having to do everything I had to do, to finish that.
You got to do.
And I played 3 sports in college. And then walked on and played soccer, and killed myself and walked on and was the MVP for the soccer program at Westmont. So I just look at life as a long journey, and I look at the end of the day being a wealth manager and managing money for a living. And cash is king, Laura. You save that money, right?
Laura, let me ask you a question in regards to the schools that you have chosen at the top of your list, as well as at mid and bottom and so forth. Mm-hmm. And the only comparison that I can use is buying a car. Mm-hmm. What was it that made you want to why did you choose those given schools? I mean, when you go buy a car, you can kick the tires, you can take it for a test drive. You can't really test drive a university. So what are the elements that determine your choices?
For me, it was pretty simple. I either get into a really good school here in the U.S., and that is based off, like, I like a moderate environment. I like not a huge school, like in the middle kind of with enrollment-wise, nice neighborhood. Like, I have the parameters with which I chose the school, but the point is I either get into a really good one or I'll just go back to Europe, because there's no point in spending that amount of money unless it's a really good school.
But what makes it a good school? How do you
the job
gauge the
opportunities
educational...
afterwards. The job opportunities afterwards and the connections you can make for your future.
And this is coming from a guy who never went to college. I mean, I went to junior college, but it's not quite the same as going to a university. I mean, for example, you just listed off one of the professors at SBCC, who I've met, and he's a great guy, very intelligent.
Yes.
And I would say, okay, if I was going to go to SBCC, I'd want to take a class with him. Doesn't matter what it is, because he just comes across as knowing his stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
That, to me, would say this is a quality educator, hoping that there are equally qualified and quality educators throughout SBCC. Yeah. Well, how do you gauge that when you're looking at Berkeley, or you're looking at UCLA, or you're looking at, I don't know, Yale, Harvard, or whatever other university?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Usually general ed are the classes that are taught not by the professors, but by students that are getting like their master's or PhD in the big universities. And I'm getting my general ed at CC, where it's still taught by the professor. Okay. And once I will get into the 4-year university, it's going to be like very specific material that usually is taught by the professor. Okay. So that's also a plus in getting to a CC first. So you always have the professor teaching it and not some student teaching it.
Okay.
One of the fun things that the professors at SBCC also teach at UCSB, you're getting a taste of what it's going to be like in a 4-year university.
Yes.
And I really appreciated that when I went to SBCC.
Yes.
You wanted to be when you grew up?
International lawyer. Diplomat, something like that.
That's ergo Georgetown, UCLA. So the question, when you get accepted to all 3, because I believe, I send you the manifesting tapes, and so you get accepted to all 3. So you open up the last letter, and, Columbia accepts you, UCLA, they all accept you. So where would you want to go?
That's a hard question. Like, I'm an East Coast girl. It's the first place I've been to when I came to the U.S. and especially the area of Boston. So like northern part of the East Coast is where I really feel home because it's more European. So I'd probably end up in one of those schools over there. But I guess it depends from financial help and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Nice. I'm very excited for you.
You have a second queen in the house.
That's it. Definitely. So name your schools. Anna.
See, I wish I knew what I wanted to do more like you do, but I don't know. I mean, I'm looking all over California right now. Like, I'm a junior at Bishop Diego High School, so not next year, but the next year as well, I'll be going to college, and I'm looking at a 4-year university somewhere in the U.S. I have no idea right now.
Do you want to play sports when you're there?
I definitely want to do club soccer. I'm not sure about playing for the school, but because I definitely want to keep up my focus on my academics and social life first.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that. Academics. Well, it's playing since you were like 5 years old. You need a break. All right. Last but not least, Dr. Dale Figtree's in the house. Woo! How have you been? You've been MIA. What have you been doing?
I know. It's great to be back. Well, doing a few things here and there, classes and traveling, but it's good to be back.
Nice. Hey, what's coming up? And what are you doing over the summer?
Well, actually, what's coming up is on the first week of June, there's a conference at Casa de Maria. I'm going to be a presenter there.
Nice.
And it's really a great conference. It's called Health Classics. And, there's just different things that pop up. I did a book signing 2 weeks ago at Paradise Found. I have a new cookbook out, and there's always things cooking.
Nice. What's the name of the
Literally and figuratively. It's called Nutritious, Delicious, and Simple.
Nice. I love it. We got to check that out. All right. So it's available anywhere, right?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely available from Amazon.
Nice.
And it's sold, around town here.
Around the world.
And around the world.
It's around the world now because I just announced it. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
There you go. All right, let's take a little break. We've got a lot of show today. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. We'll be back with a lot more after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. Hey, a couple of shout-outs. Let's do a shout-out to Bobby at Televi's. Woo! Thank you, Bobby. I love it when they call in and they say, hey, come and pick up your money. I love that, right? So if for folks out there who aren't aware, we have these little boxes and spread out all over town.
The Glita Roundup.
Yep, a little Glita Roundup action. And, it's totaled up and it all goes to the United Boys and Girls Club. And we really appreciate you guys. It's been now for going on 3 years now.
Yep.
And nickels, dimes, quarters, nobody even thought that was a pretty good idea. And it's a really good idea. And then Santa Cruz Market always calls up every couple of weeks because they let us put a box on every register. So we love you out there. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, David. We love you. Woo! All right, of course, Vin, Galita Sushi. Vin, we love you. We really appreciate it. Then we have Alejandro at Galita Jewelers. Thank you. So I've been bad in not thanking you guys every week, and I apologize. And it's all got to be about gratitude because it's just all about being here in Santa Barbara. It's all about giving, and more giving. So
taking care of our kids.
Always taking care about the kids, definitely. All right. You know what? You give every week. So I think you should give again. And look, you got that smile. I haven't watched you prepare or anything like that. So I think it's story time.
Story time.
You got a story?
I got a story.
Oh, I wish she didn't have a story. She's got a story. All right, here we go.
I always got a story up my sleeve. Okay, so I have a story that everybody can participate in.
Okay.
It starts out with, how heavy is a glass of water? Any guesses? How heavy is a glass of water?
Depends on how big it is.
Okay.
And if it's full.
Okay, it's a glass of water. It's full of water. It's a glass full of water. So it's an 8 ounce glass of water, right? Okay, well, the thing about how heavy a glass of water is, it's not really about how heavy it is, but how long you're going to hold it. So imagine you got a glass of water in your hand, and you're holding it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, You're holding it all day. What's going to happen to you?
Gonna feel heavier.
Yeah, and what? Your muscle's going to cramp, right? And after your arm cramps, then your shoulder cramps, maybe your back cramps, and you get a lot of cramps in your body, right? And you're holding this glass of water, right? Okay, this is an analogy of stress. So when we have things happen in our life and we have a reaction to something happening in our life that isn't all that great, we've run out of our adaptation energy, and maybe we get angry, we get upset, we cry, or we do something or say something that we regret. That's a stress response, okay? And when we hold the memory of that stress response, like holding onto a glass of water, when it first happens, it's not that bad. It's just a glass of water, right? But you keep holding it and keep holding it and keep holding it. And maybe you're dreaming about it at night, and then you're worried about it the next day, and you keep holding it and you keep holding it and holding it. That's when it starts affecting your body. So the whole point about when you have a response in your life and you've run out of adaptation energy and you're having a stress response, the whole point is let it go, relax, let it go, because you don't want to cramp up your style by holding on to that negative moment. So when you have something that happened in your life, think about it as a glass of water and put it down. Let it go.
Break that glass. I say break that glass. Right, Laura?
Yeah, I agree. I don't need that stress.
Anna?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's a good analogy for like stress, because I feel like when you get rid of that stress, you can really feel the weight like coming off of you. In a sense.
You're like, whoa, why was I holding on to that? God, I stopped breathing, and wow, my back, I stopped moving, and
No. No, you may need the water. We're in a drought after all.
Not officially. Not officially.
And you know, that ongoing stress starts putting your body into what's called a fight and flight mechanism, which is meant to, you know, if you see a tiger, to run and then be over. But that continual fight and flight mechanism, first of all, it burns through your nutrients faster, uses up your energy, and it throws your entire body off system by system. So it's a beautiful metaphor.
yeah, it's just so surprising to me. I mean, something happens in your day, and when it first happens, you're like, okay, I can deal with it. You know, even though it may not have gone down the way I wanted, I can deal with it. Or let's say you're playing in sports and the game's going on and it doesn't go down exactly the way you wanted. If you keep replaying the negative part of the game in your mind, you're holding that glass of water and you're cramping your style. So you got to let it go.
Dominique Hackett. Woo! I like that. Well, we can't segue into like cramping anybody's style, because our next guest, there's no cramping his style. Put your hands together. We got Jeremy. Work. Woo! How are you?
All right.
Okay, Jeremy, is your last name Work?
It actually is.
Wow. I was like, this is the best business card I've ever seen. My son, Devin, when he was 4 years old, he wanted a business card. And I made him a business card, and it said, per his request, Boy Worker. So when I saw yours, it says Jeremy Work, I'm like, right on.
No one believes me. I have to spell it every time.
So funny. Jeremy was introduced to us, Dominique and myself, from a mutual friend, Efren Reynosa. And it was great because I just love people that we love, and then networking and bringing in their friends. It's just like, it's great. And I think
the talent in this community is just out there.
Phenomenal. He's right up there. I love it. I have no problem saying the kid, guy, boy, whatever, 22-year-old, genius, over the top, genius. And then, of course, he's in the whole Westmont thing. His dad's a Westmont professor. I love it. I mean, and then I heard a story one day, and I was just in awe. I mean, he totally made me stop everything that I was doing. That's hard because I'm totally the ADHD, so yeah, I multitask.
What part of his story can we share?
I know. We're
going to leave that up to Jeremy.
I know. I'm going to let him tell his story. I mean, I'm not going to even all right, I get it, Dominique. Stop talking. Okay, so Jeremy, let's start from the beginning, okay? Your dad, let's go back to the beginning of how you used to dumpster dive at Westmont, because it was a long time ago. So,
well, the beginning of that is actually Santa Barbara. We moved here, and to my parents' dismay, there was a 1994 dinosaur of a computer sitting outside in the trash can, which I had asked one of the moving company's people to move into the house for me.
There you go. And how old were you?
I was about 8 or 9 years old, and
1994. I remember those. I was running a company off of that.
Yeah, Macintosh Performa.
Yeah.
And it had color, and it worked still. I had no mouse for it, and I had no clue how to use it because I had really only ever used a family computer that was to be shared equally among the children. And but I just started to mess with it and see what I could do with it. And then at yard sales, I would see things that looked similar that I could try to plug into it. And eventually I realized that this is old enough that I could essentially get most of the stuff for free at people's dumpsters, and Westmont's in particular, because it was right there. It was a 10-minute walk from my house, and they had all this stuff that was basically, to me, stuff that I would be wanting to save up to buy that was just sitting in the dumpster. And so
you weren't kidding, dumpster diving. I mean, we're not going for donuts. We're going for computer parts.
Yes, absolutely. And with friends on bicycles or razor scooters or whatever we could find to take this stuff back to the house and fill up the garage with, again, to my parents' dismay. And, before too long, I could get some of these systems working. Not that anyone would actually want them, but they worked. They were brought from garbage into working machines, and I thought that was really cool. And, again, began to fill up more of the house with them and use more of the power bill.
Did you ever take any classes at school on computers, or you're all self-taught?
That part is all self-taught. I eventually, sort of several years later, my dad basically brought some BASIC instructors, which is a programming language, BASIC. I'll
do that on TRS-80s.
I know everyone from the last generation knows what BASIC is, but in today's generation,
I'm really old.
BASIC what? But no, BASIC programming language, and maybe I think we were probably 10 years old. We were beginning to do simple programs to make animated graphics pop on the screen and very simple stuff. Nothing that we could sell, but certainly interesting enough to get our minds going. That had never really been my primary focus. I really loved hardware and sort of machine hacking, where I could get machines working together that weren't necessarily intended to.
Nice. That's a skill.
At the time it wasn't nothing other than just for fun. But as I sort of adapted that further into the modern world, when I could afford to get things that people actually used, it became something that was rather valuable, where people would actually be interested in having me come and get things to work.
Now you're invaluable. I mean, everyone's trying to get different pieces of hardware to talk to each other.
Yes, we've evolved into a very complicated tech world where it wasn't just a single group of thinkers coming up with a computer system. It's hundreds of thousands around the globe, which are all building software and hardware to communicate with each other, and it's kind of a mess. But it's also at the same time the possibilities are just infinite.
So, which high school did you go to?
San Marcos High School.
Nice. And you graduated from San Marcos?
Not quite. I actually graduated from a boarding school in Utah.
Oh, wow.
That's an interesting story for a different time.
And then you started your own company?
So I got a job right out of high school at Mac Mechanic here in town, basically doing my hobby as a job, and couldn't complain too much with that. And I loved it there. But it was constrained by, of course, the policies of a company, and a company that has a corporate relationship with Apple, who is...
That's a little tricky.
known to
be
a bit restrictive in their policies in general. I've always loved Apple as a company, just for the sake of what they've been able to create, but not necessarily for their politics. Yeah. And it is what it is. They've been able to get quite far in this world with their politics, and I won't criticize that.
I was wondering if the time where you got the computer from the dumpster, the first computer, was that when you first started to get interested in technology? Like, was it just kind of like a spark and it started from there, or did you have some interest before?
Not necessarily in technology. I had always been the sort of oddball kid that would be building sprinkler systems or electric systems in the backyard instead of doing things that normal people would. I loved Legos was probably the most normal thing that I did as a child. An actual toy.
All right, we're going to take a little break because we have got commercials. Okay, and then because that's how we're wired. Okay, and then we're going to learn more about how you're wired after break. This is Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Will be back with a lot more with Jeremy Work after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. Anna, where else can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, I'm pretty sure, Facebook, YouTube. Radio, obviously. Is it YouTube? Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, since you're a social media director.
Yes, I gotta get on that again. I am like spacing out on where else you can find us.
It's awesome. She's so authentic. It's wonderful. It's perfect.
Facebook's fun.
Yeah, it's all there.
I'm learning. I just got a Facebook, actually. I'm like learning how to use it. Still don't really know. I did. That's the only thing I know how to do is like where the home page is and where the like friend request page is.
That's why I made you the director of social media.
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect.
I'll learn.
I promoted you. All right, let's get back to Jeremy. Jeremy, in a nutshell, because you were so different, I mean, compared to, your classmates, what would you suggest today? Because now we're in, the tech world. But so I couldn't even compare somebody. They would be so, how would you say? I mean, the new kid on the block, I mean, how much more advanced would they be than you? I mean,
that's an interesting...
They would be all artificial intelligence minded then, right?
It's sort of a double-sided question in that, because inasmuch as technology's come in the last 20 years, there's a lot that is no longer accessible to people who are trying to get into this than even I had to sort of backtrack to find. In the 80s when technology was really building up and coming, it was really open. Not necessarily open source, but the source was exposed. It was an exoskeleton. People could see very clearly what was going on in these machines. Not necessarily be able to understand it, but to be able to examine all the pieces in their intricacies and sort of figure out how to navigate that.
I think kids forget that their phone works on binary.
Yes.
It's still zeros and ones.
And I think that's the problem. We've seen a lot of amazing advancements in technology to the point where they're so reliable that the manufacturers don't necessarily have to show us anything about how they work. They are so black boxed in this sort of shell that keeps everything copacetic and running properly that you can't necessarily look at your phone and dissect it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an Apple, what do you call when you pull it off, the
hardware?
The hardware.
Yeah, but it's called switches, or what do you call the back of the phone?
The back of the phone.
Yeah, no.
Circuit?
It has all the circuits, the circuitry. I don't think I've ever stared at an Apple circuit board.
Well, I have, but there's not a lot to do with it. It's a single piece manufactured in a factory in China, and if it goes bad, the token thing to do is replace it. You can go a little bit deeper than that, but it requires, in excess of $10,000 worth of equipment to just disassemble it.
That's because the layers are so thin and there are so many layers. It's amazing how many layers there are of circuitry in a phone. I mean, even my phone has got to have 5 or 6, maybe 7 layers, but they're almost paper thin. Not quite that fragile. I was going to replace the, what was it? I think it was the power connection to charge it, the charging connector. Now, I changed out the lens cover for a camera for a phone that I was returning because it had gotten cracked and I wanted to get full credit for it. So I was able to do that. And I went on YouTube and I found a video that showed me how to do it. And I got the parts and they were mailed to me. And I was able to do that.
Yeah.
But then when I wanted to do that other part about changing out the plug for the charger, I went to YouTube and I looked at the video. Okay, take the back off, and then you take out all these tiny little screws, and then you take this layer off, and then you take out more little screws and this layer, and it was like, no. It's not, but I know what you mean because I used to build. And I was introduced to computers in 94, and I started out with a Core Data, which was like a suitcase with a little green screen and 2 floppy drives. There was no hard drive. There was memory of, I think, 64,000 kilobytes.
Yep.
And you put your operating system in one, you put your program in the other. Once you loaded it, you could then put another disk in to save your work. And then I went to the 286. I've been more into Windows. The main reason I don't care for Macintosh or Apple is because all the colors are washed out, and I like to have vibrant colors, so it never clicked with me. But anyway, I could build those. I could get a case and the motherboard and all of the peripherals, and it was like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And they made it, and I'm sure Apple did the same thing. They made them so that, for example, the power supply can only plug into the motherboard one way.
Yep.
You can't plug it in the other way. So they did make some sort of fail-safes.
Yes.
In that sense.
Yes.
And so you'd get your sound card, you'd get your video card, you'd get your internet, Ethernet card, all of the other peripherals that you needed to install. And I know Apple had the same configurations. The one problem I had, though, was that so much, and you kind of alluded to this with Apple, certain manufacturers, everything was proprietary. If you didn't buy their brand of hard drive...
And Apple was, of course, the pioneer of this sort of exclusivity factor.
Yeah, and I feel as if building an Apple computer is kind of like trying to build an Empire State Building when you've never built a pillow fort. It's true. It's what it is. You're going from
Pillow fort. I like
0
that.
to 1,000. You don't know the basics, and that's what you could learn earlier with the earlier computers.
And to be honest, it used to be way worse. I mean, we're running Unix now, and this is a system that people actually can use. Apple used to do everything proprietary.
So is there a place where you're just suggesting Google then?
Well, I basically sort of struggled my way through learning how this stuff worked, and in the places where the fail-safes weren't there as well. There, like you were saying, there's only one way to plug a power supply in, except on some models where you could plug it in the wrong way and kill everything. And they wouldn't tell you because that was exclusive knowledge, and why are you even in there? You're not authorized.
So the real bummer is that part of your intelligence and genius with what you do with technology is that you've had to hack through hardware and software and just figure it out.
And I actually, it was a blessing for me that I started in the 90s in the world of hardware and software. Obviously, I wasn't actually doing it in the 90s, but I was able to start there to sort of build the foundation for how I know the stuff works.
So how do we get kids to have that kind of experience? Because I tried to explain that to people. The reason why I'm an Excel master is because I did computer programming.
Yes.
So I know how to auto-check and how to build in safeties.
It makes intuitive sense to you, where to someone who's just opening this program for the first time, they don't know why this stuff is happening.
Exactly.
So, I think that there's two answers to that. And the first answer to that is that I think we, as consumers, need to demand that we're still in the loop with this stuff. We have this generation that's now in the high-end corporate world of these companies that are designing basically all of our software, and they're not necessarily passing that on to the next generation. They're passing on development environments. Apple has done a fantastic job with Swift for easy programming learning to especially cater to elementary school kids to get them started young enough to get through. But it's at a level that's sort of removed from the actual source. Apple's building this system so that everyone can create programs that work for them. Not necessarily that they can go out and start something from scratch and develop something brand new that the world hasn't even known it's missing.
How do you think you would have done with the technology of the 70s with punch cards and fan-fold paper?
Wait. That's what I learned on.
I know. That's what my father learned on, and he used to bring those home from college because he was taking computer programming courses in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I would look at those punch cards, and he would say, and those are the instructions. Based upon where those punches are located on that card, that's what tells the computer what to do. And then, of course, the fanfold was the printout of that program.
Right. Jeremy, your company, Tech Doctors. So
Yes.
you started it how long ago?
Officially, this one we've started. My partner and I started this one about a year ago. But I had basically been freelance outside of my job at Mac Mechanic until I had too much to do to even keep that job, that I was basically just on call. And so we've sort of evolved that into any sort of technical in-home repair, small business, networking, audio, video, TVs, phones, whatever technology needs that you need. That's what we do.
Well,
Erica's front door was just ringing.
yeah, I know exactly. Well, Jeremy, you do everything for me and all of my friends and Dominique, and you're amazing, a genius. My clients love you, and I think I've become now your personal secretary. Okay, because my clients, what's your friend? And I'm sorry that my clients are asking you now what their password is, and half of it is password. I know, and I know I forgot my password the other day, and I apologize for asking you that too, because at your rates, that's annoying.
Well,
so
this
I apologize.
is part of the problem I think that we're seeing is that we have all these thinkers who are building this stuff from the top end and not necessarily in tune enough with where we actually need to be.
Right. How do we get a hold of you?
The Tech Doctor's main number is 805-698-1450. And we are on call 24/7, actually. If you do have an emergency, you can always contact us there.
Jeremy work Tech Doctors. All right, we're going to take a break. This Eric is Salda, the Queen of Tea. We'll be back with a lot more of these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in every single Tuesday, 9 a.m. Woo! Yeah, if anybody... I like this Tech Doctors. I like this Jeremy. See, it's wonderful when Jeremy comes over. See, the whole thing about starting to feed him breakfast worked out really good, don't you think? See, we're actually...
You forgot your password.
I know. Thank God. Thank God. I just get... No, I start getting forgetful around him, right? And then especially when you're having iPhone problems, when he has breakfast and all of a sudden my phone doesn't work. I don't know what that's about, but I'm so happy when I start having glitches because the boy likes to eat, right? And I like to cook, so it's been working out. And then the best one, okay, I know you're not on mic, but that's too bad. The best one is I had this dream right around Mother's Day, right? You know how much I drink. Do I drink? You get on the mic anytime you want right now, do you?
No, yeah.
But I don't drink, right?
No.
But I like certain things, like those neon signs. We're not going to say, but somebody that we both know broke my neon. What was it? I even forgot because it's broken. I'm getting Tourette's because I get upset. Yeah, the fires. Thank you for reminding me. I had this neon, nice little Firestone thing, and I had this Glade garage. Now it's all cleaned out and really nice and everything. So, of course, somebody that we both know broke it. Okay, so it doesn't work. It blinks now. It's kind of like that Back to the Future movie, when, before the car went in there with that
gas brakes.
Yes, right. Does the gas? It's going to blow up my garage. Okay, so I kind of had this vision of a Heineken sign would look really nice, the neon one, right? So, of course, that's what I love about this kid, right? I call him a kid. He's like my son. Okay.
You can find anything.
He found it in a second. So he shows me, he goes, this, and he shows it my face like, oh my God, I almost cried. And it was
a star.
It was beautiful. It has a star. It was a huge Heineken thing. He showed me about this amount. He goes, yeah, it's down in LA. He goes, oh, I can go visit my grandmother. And I'm like, oh, so 2 days later, he texts me, it's in my car. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, it's over my refrigerator now. So every once in a while when I'm lonely, right, I just turn it on. Heineken, bam, big star. I just love it, right? That's all I got to say. Who do we have in the house now? So I had to regress. Who do we have in the house now? We've got Ryan, put your hands together. We got Ryan Eckler. We've got Claire Baker. We got Ila, how do you say your last name?
Delmarsh.
Delmarsh! I didn't want to say it wrong. That's right. Ryan.
Yeah.
You texted me out of nowhere. I clearly remember who you are, and you've been very busy. Tell me what's going on.
So we're from Santa Barbara High School, and our AP Environmental Science class is doing this project called SB Roots, and we're removing invasive species at the Botanic Gardens and in the Mission Creek watershed. Wow. And we're planting native species and helping restore the native environment there.
Beautiful. So, when did you
What's
start
your
doing
favorite native plants?
Well, the ones that we're planting there are actually the black sage, deer grass, and purple sage. And we're removing pampas grass, tree tobacco, yellow nutsedge, periwinkle.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
So the project started maybe
At the beginning of this month.
yeah, so
A couple weeks.
a few weeks, and we had our first actual event where we were removing these invasive species yesterday.
It was on Tuesday.
Sorry.
Oh, Tuesday, the
16th.
16th. Yeah.
Yep, and we had a very nice tour guide there, like take us through and show us where we could find the invasive species, and we were able to fill up multiple trash bags full of the invasive species, pulling out the roots and everything. And then we go back a few more times throughout the next few weeks, and that's the goal of our project.
How did you get this idea? Was it something that the club used to do already? Is it something that you introduced? Like, you just started. That's what you said, but...
Oh, hi. I'm Ila. Yeah, I'm one of the directors of the project. So we actually had kind of a brainstorming session in our class, and we had a few ideas thrown out, and then we voted on the best ideas. And removing invasive species seemed like it was going to be an effective project that would help the community, and that it was something we could do that wasn't that hard.
I'm Claire Baker. I'm also on the board of directors with Ila. And I do production, so everything the public sees.
So far, it's only focused on eliminating the invasive species, but are you thinking of actually replanting local species and natural things?
You know what we're going to do? I had to cut you off. You know why? Because he's the producer and he's going smushy, smushy, smushy. You're clearly not paying attention. And then he's giving me that look that I don't want to even participate in. So we're going to take a break. This is Erica Salda. Short little break. We'll be right back after these messages. We are back, and this is the Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m. We don't have a lot of time, but I want to get back to you ladies. Okay, who wants to talk? Ila.
Oh, so we, for the invasive species, we're targeting the ones that are the most harmful in our ecosystem here in Santa Barbara. So we're targeting ones that displace really good beneficial plants, like the ones that we listed earlier. And while we remove these plants, it really improves the ecosystem of the Mission Creek and helps, especially the what's it called? The trout. Steelhead trout that everyone loves here in Santa Barbara. So
nice.
Yeah, and then
we have a bake sale today, 3:30 to 6:30 at the Montecito Vons, and come buy some great baked goods. We have a great baker.
We have really good bakers at our school. Really good bakers.
How much money do you think you're usually going to raise on that bake sale? Take a wild stab.
Last one was about $300.
Great. You know what we're going to do?
A little over, yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. ePro Insurance, that's my company, Wealth Preservation, Gift Planning. I want to match it right now.
Oh!
$300.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, we can't thank you enough.
That's
Yeah,
it's
thanks
just
a lot.
unbelievable. That's why you look. Ryan said, "How are we going to get $300?" I don't know. I just bake sale. No, we don't even need to do the bake sale now. Let's
Thanks a
just
lot.
eat the cakes.
Just eat it. We'll bring you the cupcakes. We'll bring you all the cupcakes.
No. Thank you. I am trying to look lean. Okay.
Carrot cake.
We can give away the food, right? That's right.
Shout out to a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, so the whole idea, the whole idea behind the project came from our teacher Jose Caballero. And Jose is really very, very active in our community and restoring native species and doing all kinds of environmental work. He's a spectacular teacher. He averages like a 4 on the AP exam that like the average score nationwide is like a 1 on.
Wow.
He's very, very talented teacher, very good guy. He believes that like you shouldn't just be learning in the classroom. You should be like taking action and doing things in the community, and that's the whole idea behind this project. It's actually worth half our grade.
Well, I would like to invite you guys to Erica's house on a Saturday morning for breakfast because her front yard is all native landscape.
Wow.
And most of it comes from Santa Barbara Botanical.
Well, they're going to be coming over to pick up the check. So that's it. That's it.
Wow.
Most definitely. All right. So any sports? Because this is a teen sports radio show. Yeah. Who plays sports? Here we go.
You do a sport?
I do.
That's it.
I play varsity volleyball.
Woo! I like it. You have a good volleyball team over at Santa Barbara
we
High
do.
School. Fantastic. How'd you guys finish up this year?
We did pretty well.
Yeah,
Not
you
as
did.
well as we thought. But,
Yeah, I did.
you know.
Because you have Joe's daughter is on that team.
Yes, Ellie.
Yes.
She's great.
She's awesome. Love her. I met her when she was in 8th grade.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's a little firecracker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's Joe's daughter.
On and off.
Definitely. That's it. Hey, we got to go around and say thank you to everybody because we only got a minute to go. And smush a sign. There's a quickest minute. When you put up that one finger, that is
It's
a
a
minute.
big
to me.
thank you to Santa Barbara.
That's it. All right. A big thank you to Santa Barbara. Put our hands together. That's all you do.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Oh, we love you guys, huh?
Thank you.
And hey, bring your friends over. All right. Santa Barbara, we love you. See you next week.
You're the best alive.